Welcome to the very first episode of Politics with Pops. I'm Allie.
And I'm Alan.
And today we're discussing politics. All right, the first thing we have on this is kind of like the week for June 1st to June 8th. Just kind of the main events that have happened this week. So today we will be talking about the Trump and Elon breakup, is what I like to call it. The Republic couple of the century has broken up. It's so sad. Then I also wanted to cover the transgender on June 6th, which was on June 6th, basically, was the cutoff date for any transgender member in the Army to come forward and say that they're transgender. So now the government is gonna, and the military is gonna start going through looking for people who are transgender, using medical tests. And finally, we have President Trump deployment of the National Guard in LA. Is there anything else we should cover, Dad?
No, we'll see what comes up, I think.
Do you want to start or should I?
Yeah, I feel like a parent, like, Kramer versus Kramer, It's a custody fight, and Daddy, please don't fight, It's like
the bromance of the century has been ruined.
Yeah, I know. You saw all those memes out there with the two of them.
So funny. Yeah, it's so funny.
Anyway, and now they got little X. Who gets custody of little X? I mean, you gotta admit, it looks like the love child of halfway between them.
Yeah, I don't even know what they were thinking at the beginning, personally, when they started working together. Yeah, I really do think that Elon thought that he could like overtook Trump, but Trump just kind of does whatever the whatever the heck he wants.
I don't think it's actually Trump. I mean, I think Elon didn't really understand that spending is so ingrained in Congress that there's no way to reduce spending.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a few Republicans that want to reduce spending, but it's not a majority. There are, and I have yet to see many Democrats at all who want to reduce spending.
The thing with the hard part about how people are like, oh, we need to reduce spending to cut the national debt is like the main thing, and stop borrowing money from other countries and start getting foreign bonds from other people. I honestly think it's so stupid to say we need to cut money, because we go over our national budget every single year. Every year. There's not been a year probably in the past maybe 20 years. I don't know how long it's been that we didn't go over our national budget, and our national debt keeps getting higher. And truly, the only way we can ever get rid of our national debt is if we inflate the dollar so much that the dollar just goes to hell. So I think when people are like, well, there's less spending, either way, we're going to spend more than our national budget. It happens every year.
But do you know how miserable the lives of the average American is going to be if we have hyperinflation? I mean, you'll go to work and work for something that by the time you get your paycheck will be worthless. Of course, if you're in a lot of debt, you can pay back that debt with something that's pretty worthless.
Mm-hmm.
So good day to get out of student loans.
The whole thing with spending and the government, the national budget and all this stuff, it's like no president has ever stayed within the national budget.
No, it's
ridiculous.
Like, every one of them want to spend more.
So that's why it doesn't make sense. Why would you cut funding for Medicaid and try to cut funding for other programs for people like in schools and all this stuff, and resources for people who need them? Like, why would you cut them? Because at the end of the day, and you're wasting money on other stuff, doesn't make it. You're wasting money on a tariff war. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to work, but that's Trump's methodology. Is he says something that's so off the deep end that everybody reacts to it. Meanwhile, he's got another plan in mind.
But at the end of the day, words have power.
Yeah.
words have power. And there was a time some Ronald Reagan was doing a video and he was testing a microphone and he was going 3, 2,
You
1
start bombing in 5
in
minutes.
on the microphone as a like just fun thing, whatever. And he had to come out, he had to apologize because other countries were terrified that the US president was going to bomb them. And I think that Trump has gotten away from that. Words have so much power to them, so much power. And I feel like he's completely gotten away from that. And he doesn't realize what he says, like other people in other countries are terrified.
Yeah, it moves the stock market every day. I mean,
Yeah,
if you knew what Trump was going to say before he said it, you could make a lot of money in the stock market.
I
Which I don't know where Trump Jr., Don Jr., or whatever is what he's doing these days. Probably making a lot of money in the stock market would be my guess.
from his dad, which I genuinely think your presidency should never, ever, ever, ever be a business investment because that is ridiculous that you're basically using it as a way to manipulate the whole stock market, which again is actually pretty much illegal because he can tweet something and the stock market can change, which is called insider trading. So super cool.
Yeah. Well, you look at the portfolios of half the people in Congress. I mean, Biden's got 3 summer houses, and what did he make a year as a congressman? $60,000 a year, something like that.
Well, you can make more money from other ways. You also get a lot of money speaking in public as a president. You get a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're on the
So,
speaking circuit, and they just get
but
loads of cash.
all that Trump's doing is he's just getting himself and all of his friends richer, including Elon Musk, who put in a lot of money into the Trump campaign. I think it was $500 million.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that doubts that Elon Musk would have been a lot better off had he just stayed the hell out of politics. And I honestly think that the country would be better off if he's inventing stuff and creating stuff that improves our life in the long run.
I don't really understand like why he felt the need to get involved with the Trump campaign. Felt the need. It's just the whole situation. I was like, just I feel like if you're running a business, maybe getting involved in politics is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he was for Trump as much as he was against Kamala.
Yeah, not the best.
But, come back together, guys. Make
No.
up, make friends.
Yeah, let's move on and talk
Just
about
have a romantic date. Maybe a
we
couple
missed
therapy.
I miss all the TikTok edits of their romance.
Sit down to dinner and hold hands and just look into each other's eyes and figure out what the problem is.
Yeah, who's gonna get little X? Who's gonna take care of him?
Yeah, think about the children here. Think about us.
No.
Daddy.
Think about you.
Daddy, why?
Think about dad, not me. Could care less. Okay, so should we talk about what started the breakup? What made them?
Yeah, I think it was, basically I think Elon's expectations for the budget were a lot different than what actually happened.
Yeah.
I think Elon wanted his friend to be head of NASA. That didn't happen. And I think the coup de grace is the $7,500 tax break for electric vehicles is now no more. But still, the incentives for oil.
I got a tax break on my car. It was great.
Yeah.
I got so much money off.
Yeah, it cut it in half.
Yeah, seriously. I think there's a lot of things. I think Elon truly believed that he could try to run the president. Truly, I think he thought that he could pick and choose what he got because he was friends with Trump, and that's kind of not how it works.
I think the problem there is just that Elon didn't expect the barriers to cutting spending that are there.
Yeah.
No, everybody who said they're going to do it, nah, never done it.
Do you know what was in the big beautiful bill? That's what Trump is calling it.
It's basically everything that the Democrats had going beforehand, plus increase border security, increase ICE agents, increase spending for the military.
We spend so much money on ICE agents. It's like insane.
Well,
So much money.
it's so much easier to get 10 million people to come into the country and live. I mean, if we, that's another topic for another time.
Yeah, we'll not get into that. Otherwise, I might come out of here screaming and yelling at my father to be kind to people. Okay, let's get back to what was said for the Trump versus, I call it the Trump versus Musk, aka the breakup, which is what I wrote down. Elon Musk tweeted that the reason the Epstein files haven't been released is because Trump is in them. Have you seen this tweet? Have you seen this?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I truly believe that he's mentioned.
I don't know if Trump is a pedophile, but I know he's a pervert. I mean, well,
100%.
I can't say that. I can say that I believe he is because the whole grabbing conversation.
So bad.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Okay.
Oh, it's just locker room talk. No, they were outside an airplane.
What I don't get is how you could be okay with him saying stuff like that and still vote for him.
Because I care about policy. I don't care about personality.
Okay, so you're okay with cutting Medicaid and Social Security for people who don't have jobs?
He's not cutting Medicaid and Social Security.
Well, that's part of policy and kicking families apart and
20% of the money that's spent
making
on
it
Social
illegal
Security is fraud.
and making it illegal in some states to not have gay marriage in some states. Like, so bad.
Yeah, I thought we settled that a long time ago. Just leave it the hell alone.
Like, just let people get married, like, to the people they love. That makes me so sad that why go back and change it? That wasn't okay.
Yeah, I just think
and you're okay with that, so that was fine.
I think stay the hell out of it. I think that's a settled issue. Yeah. Somebody wants to be happy and it's not affecting anybody else. What the hell? Let them be. Let them be.
I think back to the Epstein stuff. So if you don't know what the Epstein files were, it's basically Epstein, who was he was really big in the political scene. Any other thing you can think of, Dad?
He recruited people that were younger than 18 to his island, and then he recruited politicians and business leaders to his island, and then he had basically filmed everything secretly.
So what I wrote down is he basically would sexually abuse. Before he did the whole island thing, he sexually abused girls under a lot of them were under the age of 14, and he also created a prostitution network for people to hire prostitutes, and then he also flew thousands of girls to the island, obviously, and that's kind of where all the businessmen, the politicians, celebrities would come and basically abuse a bunch of little girls and sexually abuse them. Yeah. Not okay at all. So then he had some Epstein files came out, right? Some of the papers came out, and then some of them have been redacted. So it's kind of, we're to the point where it's kind of unclear what is true, what's not, that's kind of what's been happening with that.
There's a lot of power that want that list to not go anywhere.
Yeah.
Want that videos not to go anywhere. Yeah. Because, here's the politician, here's the pedophile, here's the,
I would love to see who's on that list. And I think a lot of Democrats, we would love to see what was on the list.
Oh, the other thing, who the hell is attracted to 14-year-old girls?
So inappropriate.
What the hell?
So the reason I'm bringing the Epstein files up is because of what Musk said, and he says that the reason they're not released is because Trump is in them. I believe that Trump is in the Epstein files, 100%. There's no way he isn't.
I don't know.
So
it doesn't seem to be in his background to be going after little girls.
In his background.
Yeah, in his background.
Hold on a minute. I have some evidence here 2002, Trump interviewed with the New York magazine. He said that Epstein was a lot of fun to be with. He said, it is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
Yeah, there's a difference
Hmm.
between
He was
18-year-old,
50,
19-year-old,
56.
younger, and younger.
But is it okay for a 56-year-old to go to 18, 19-year-olds?
I don't think so. I
No.
think it's still
No.
abuse. I do. I mean, you basically have all that money and that power, and you're taking advantage of somebody who just hasn't had that much life.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean,
Like, genuinely, could you imagine a 56-year-old? Would you be livid if a 56-year-old with a ton of power, like, came after me or, like,
yeah, I'd be
yeah,
pissed off. Yeah.
so bad?
I mean, of course, ask Bill Clinton if, you can smoke a cigar,
No comment. um, but Trump also claimed that he had a fallout with Epstein. He said that he basically just said that they had a fallout with their friendship, and he doesn't. And that was in 2019 when the big Epstein files came out. Like started, people were talking about it more, and the case was there. But he said that he had a fallout with him, and he like didn't talk to him.
Yeah.
But there was video footage of Trump.
Everybody was running for the hills,
Yeah, and there was video footage
including
of Trump and Epstein
Prince,
together.
whatever, allegedly.
Yeah, so many people, and I just like, so disgusting that that even happened, was okay, and went on for however long. I truly think that Trump's in it, and so the whole Trump versus Musk thing, like, but also it's like, would Elon Musk bring that up if it wasn't true?
I think Trump said something about Musk that was totally untrue.
Which
And
part?
I can't remember what it was. So that was the reciprocal of that. So I don't know. Maybe, but we don't know. We just don't know.
Yeah, I think the whole fallout. Don't. I don't think they're ever gonna. I don't know. Were they even friends? I don't think they'll ever work together again. I
Oh,
just
I think someday, 50 years from now, maybe they'll release all
aren't they?
those
Won't
videos.
won't they be dead in 50 years?
Trump will. Maybe Musk won't.
Trump will be dead in 50.
Musk is like 40, right?
I don't know how old he
By that
is.
time, he would have invented something to overcome aging.
Okay. Reverse telomeres or something.
Yeah, they've been doing that forever. There was a woman who did that in California that I'm curious to.
Biohacking.
She did that about
Next week's topic.
She did that about 20 years ago, and she was pretty young then. So I'm curious to see what she looks like now, but I haven't
Yeah.
ever looked it up. She started some company that I don't know if it ever really made money.
Biohacking. Next, we'll talk about that probably. I love biohacking. I think it's so interesting. I hope Musk doesn't do it. I hope he dies in pain slowly.
No, I don't understand it. Why hate Musk?
It's just also he has so many
Yeah,
kids
the
with random
15 sons
people.
thing.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, that's a weird. I'll give you that. I mean,
And also here's another thing is he has billions of dollars. He is one of the richest man in the whole world. Okay? Do you know how hard it is to get like how easy it is to get like a billion, how easy it is to give money to people when you have $1 billion?
yeah.
You could change so many people's lives who have nothing. Why aren't you? How could you be a billionaire and not give anything
Because you
back?
start multiplying that by the number of people that have nothing, and pretty soon you'll have nothing.
But I'm not saying like give them all money. I'm saying start a nonprofit, make resources for people who need it. He's done none of that.
Yeah.
It's hard to be a good person and a billionaire.
You're saying that it's harder for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven?
Sure. I'm just
Than the
saying
eye of a
that.
needle?
I'm just saying, like, if you have a ton of money, why aren't you helping people? Why aren't you starting nonprofits? Why aren't you starting something? He's done nothing to like. He's made technology better for the people who can afford it. And I could never be okay with someone who does that.
Let's talk about this in a few weeks.
Okay.
He's going to come out with a car that's really cheap.
What? So that all the people who are like dying from random stuff, I don't know, dying from cancer can buy it. Or the people who need research on
Well, there is
different
Neuralink.
diseases.
I mean, let's face it.
But
I
he's
mean,
making money off it.
the Boring Company, the Neuralink,
He's making money off
the
of them.
Tesla electric car. Nobody had any success at that. Everybody failed before he came along. And then robots. Robots are going to change the
But
world.
do you realize, like, do you realize he's being fueled by money and greed and doesn't help anyone?
I think if he were fueled by money, he would have stopped by now. I think that the way he'll help most people is to continue doing what he's doing,
But
creating new things.
who can't, for people who can't afford it though?
Initially, the Tesla was, a
So
$250,000
then can
car.
I ask you why was Musk mad about the electric vehicle tax break coming off? If quote by you, he wasn't fueled by money.
Well, because it's going to cut into his business, while at the same time,
But then why
Trump
would he not
keeps
care
the
about
oil
money?
keeps the oil subsidies
No,
there.
you know I'm right about
It's not a
this.
level playing field.
If you say, oh, if he's not fueled by money, then why he would have just stopped by now. But he's mad about his
He's fueled
business.
by expanding his business.
But that's either way, like business is money.
Time will tell.
And in other words, for Alan, that's basically saying, okay, Allie, you might have a point. For anyone who's here. Yeah, let's move on.
So much for the bromance.
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm gonna miss the edits. It's so sad. The Musk and did you see that?
Sooner or later, they'll sit quietly across from dinner each other. They'll hold hands.
They'll look into each other's eyes. They'll lick their lips, make kissy.
Music will come up in the background, and then they'll be dancing. It'll be fine.
It'll be all good. And like maybe on Trump's deathbed, Musk will come to his side and be like, I'm sorry.
I don't know. Yeah, they just need a nice romantic date.
We should set that up for them.
Elon needs to put out, and then we can instead of having X, we can have Y. Okay. Now we've come full circle.
Yeah, and then after that happens, we can all ask ourselves why.
Why?
Okay, let's move on. So, let's talk about so Trump put in the order, I think it was in about February, that basically anyone who identifies as something other than what they were born as is being pulled out of the army. Thoughts on that? And then the reason we're talking about it this week is because June 6th was the cutoff date. And so kind of what's going to happen is everyone's commanders are going to start calling them out and be like, hey, you need to go to medical. And basically they're going to check your gender is basically what's going to start happening.
Interesting you use the phrase cutoff date.
Oh my God, Dad. Not commenting on that.
Okay. Well, I mean, who's been before Trump? Who's been joining the army? Everybody's been DEI or people hoping to get free surgery.
No.
Since Trump, we have the highest enlistment on record.
Probably because everyone is just like scared of how much college is costing and how much high inflation. So they want to join the army and they get free room and board.
So they're not going to get their college loans get forgiven. So better just join the army.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I've thought about it. I think.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Trump doesn't want to go to war anywhere.
I don't know why people are joining the army now. I don't know. I didn't know that was actually happening, but
yeah, it's in record numbers, at least according to Trump. So.
Oh well.
I'm sure you'll.
We already know he
I'm
lied.
sure you'll look up the
Who?
facts and dispute that next week.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm the one editing this, so I'll go back and be like, hey, I'll come to Dad at like
subtitle. Dad's full of shit.
yeah. I'll go in and cut it. Hey, so actually, Dad was lying about that. All of his sources are from Trump the liar directly.
No, they're from Old Man Radio too.
Yeah, and you know where those sources are from? Trump the liar directly. Okay, so what are your thoughts on them being forced to go to medical, having their gender checked?
I don't know. I think if they're an effective soldier, leave them the hell alone. If they're a distraction and they're in and out of the hospital, then I don't think it's good.
Well, the thing with the army is if people are in or out of the hospital or they like can't like in and out of the hospital, they would just be discharged. They wouldn't be in the army. That's how it works. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So person who's transgender in the army are 100% capable of fighting.
I just worry.
There's been commanders who are transgender in the army.
I just worry about somebody taking all those hormones with an M60 on a base.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
I just think it's got to affect your emotions at some point.
So, I actually know, like, the thing with hormones is your body already has them naturally. Are you worried about someone taking more estrogen? Or are you worried about someone taking more testosterone?
I'm just worried about an unnatural mix causing issues and
So, the great, amazing thing about people who are transgender is everything is so precisely like prescribed to people, and like usually it's done in a cream. Like, it's, I think what you imagine is people shooting up testosterone up their arms to get a rush. Does that make sense?
gotta make weight. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do
I
it.
know when you started talking about testosterone, it made me think of all the bodybuilders. Like insane.
Yeah, some parts are increasing in size, while other parts are decreasing in size.
I just think um that whole issuing that, and I think that Trump did it from a very uneducated standpoint on transgender people and who they are.
Probably.
100%. And
Yeah.
I really think that he just thought like, I need to make my military stronger, so I'm gonna kick out the people who don't need it. And I don't think I think it's creating a lot of disorder in the army. Like, you want your military to be to the point, do a good job. If you're doing that, leave them alone. Point blank. Why would it matter? Why is that a thing? And now that the cutoff, it's like, also, the government didn't tell them anything what's going to happen. There was no communication, not a single ounce. It's like, if you're doing all this, communicate. Tell them what's going to happen. And I just like, now that the cutoff date is done, right? Like, are they going to start pulling people out, picking people out? Like, what's going to happen? It's just chaos. Like,
I don't know, and I can't really argue against it or for it.
yeah. I think if they're doing a great job, let them be.
I think yeah, it's kind of. I think that people ought to be allowed to live their lives, and if they're contributing, then let them contribute.
Yeah, 100%. Then we have President Trump deployment of the National Guard into LA to basically deport any illegal immigrants out of Los Angeles.
Well, I'm not sure they're trying to deport illegal aliens. I think they're trying to get order in place because there's riots happening right now. The ICE agents can't go where they're supposed to go because they've got all these
But
groups.
you say ICE agents aren't going where they're supposed to go, but they're supposed to go in schools and colleges, and is that okay? If I was an immigrant and I was at school and I heard that ICE agents were coming, I would be, and they told me, and I was told, oh, I was getting deported, and they quote, oh, we're only deporting people who are bad people, right? I would be pretty upset. I would be upset if my family was split apart. And I think the National Guard deployment was a little radical.
Well, I think that if part of your family is involved in terrorist activity, like what's the most recent event?
Colorado.
Yeah, the Colorado throwing.
Boulder.
Basically, you got a bunch of old people, some of them up to 80 Holocaust survivors, uh, marching for so that people remember those that are still hostages in Gaza. And here's somebody along, throws Molotov cocktails on them, burns them, and then yells, you know, free Palestine or whatever.
I don't think that has anything to do with Trump deploying the National Guard into Los Angeles. But what we were talking about is I don't think a family should be split up.
If one of that family members is a terrorist, then I think that terrorist needs to be exported.
The whole family or just the person?
The person, but
Because last time I checked, you're a Republican and I'm Democrat, and I don't export you from our family.
Yeah, but I'm not a terrorist.
Sometimes I think you are.
Well, belief and how you speak is not. We live in a country of free speech, and what we're trying to do now is the free exchange of ideas. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get mad at you.
I think after this podcast, he's just gonna yell at me a lot, and that's really hard.
Oh yeah, I'll play that.
I'm just a girl. What was that about? Families getting torn apart?
Should we tear apart the families? Well, if we do that in prisons all the time. One person is convicted of a crime, he gets put into prison, or she, and then the rest of the family is separate from them. It happens.
Yeah. If they're a bad person, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think terrorism for political change, trying to do violence to create political change is not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
So I, there's been a lot of recent tragedies, especially, all the Jew hating. I don't understand it. But that's another topic.
Yeah.
For another time, because we could do a whole episode on that.
We could do so many episodes on that. And I think what's going on in Gaza right now is so sad. With everything, yeah, people need to eat. People need to be fed. That whole topic, we are probably gonna wait to get into stuff like that. I feel like I need to be more diligent about my research about that because I don't know enough. But yeah, we will divulge into that whole topic of Palestine and Israel.
And I guess I need to start watching Rachel Maddow so I can somehow figure out what's coming my way.
Yeah, I feel like this whole debate I've kind of cooked you. I feel like I beat you in this episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, put your comments in the line. Who won?
It was me.
Who's right? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed our first episode.
Yeah, this was our first episode of Politics with Pops. If there's any topics you would like us to cover, please shoot us an email. You can comment on anything. But anything else?
No. Do you like Politics with Pops, or should we change it to Deranged Daughter?
No. I don't think. I feel like I was pretty arranged, not deranged.
Deranged.
But yeah, check us out. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and all your streaming platforms. Check us out on everything.
Yeah.
This was Politics with Pops. Yeah, we're done.
And if you want to cancel somebody, cancel me. Yes.
Yeah, he's old. I have my whole life ahead of me.
Cancel. I'm all for it. Okay.
We'll see you next week.